Hey everybody, my name's Jesse and welcome to another edition of Gen X Thinks. And today I'm going to tell a couple of shorter stories from my childhood. And these are basically just for entertainment, and so maybe people that had tough childhoods can relate and see that they weren't the only ones. Or maybe you had a semi-tough childhood and it's good to know that yours wasn't the worst. And maybe those of you who had tougher childhoods can laugh at me for being a little bitch. But hopefully everyone will enjoy my stories. Some of them are funny, some of them are just interesting. When I was about 11 years old, it's when my mom ghosted us, and it was just my dad. He was a drunk and pretty abusive. That's why she bailed. But she left all four of us kids with him, and we were out in the big scrub in Central Florida, living out there, and it's kind of a rough area. It's like rednecks nowadays. It's where they cook crystal meth and stuff out there. It's crazy nowadays, but back then it was just like poor white people living in trailers and stuff back in the woods. It's kind of a weird place. But it's not the safest place to live, to put it mildly. But anyway, we're living back there. We were completely broke, on the edge of starvation for several months there. And at some point, I don't know how, I don't remember, but my dad was able to get food stamps, get government assistance, so we could actually get food. But we didn't have a car. So the closest store was a place called Buck and Doe's. It was about, 7 miles away, maybe 5 miles, something like that, from our house. And he wasn't going to walk there and get food, so he had me do it. At 11 years old, I had to walk 5 miles to Buck and Doe's, buy groceries for the family, and then bring them home. And at that time, they didn't have the plastic bags like we do now with the handles and shit. It was the big paper bag you had to carry like this. So, but this story is about one of those times. I was walking back, and on one side of the road is the big scrub. It's just nothing but woods, oak trees and pine trees and stuff with sand roads going back into the trailers and stuff, into the neighborhoods. And on the other side of the road was a barbed wire fence that was around a watermelon field. The farmer had put up barbed wire fence because people would stop and just run out in his field and grab watermelons. I was walking on that side, on the side of the fence, and I saw something moving ahead of me up in the fence. As I got closer, I realized it was a baby owl had flown into the barbed wire fence and got its wing hooked up in one of the barbs. So I put the groceries down and got him out, got him untangled from the fence, and his wing was messed up pretty bad. And of course, he's an owl, he's a predator, so he's like digging in my hands with his claws and his beak, and he's like tearing my hands up. I didn't have gloves or anything at the time. I think I took my t-shirt off and wrapped him up in it and put it in one of the bags, is I think how I got him home, if I remember correctly. But I got him home somehow. So I get home and I show my dad, that I found an owl, and he tells me we had powdered milk. And I don't know if any of y'all have ever tasted it, but it doesn't taste anything like milk. That shit's horrible. I used to hate that shit. But anyway, we had powdered milk. So he told me to mix up some of the powdered milk, and then we had dried dog food, and to soak the dried dog food in the powdered milk and then feed that to my owl. So I did that, and it was around Christmas time because we had this crappy little plastic Christmas tree. I don't even remember how we got it. Maybe it was there at the house when we got there or something, because my dad didn't go get it. So I don't know. But we had a Christmas tree, crappy little plastic one. So I put the owl in the Christmas tree and was feeding him this moist dog food soaked in powdered milk. And I did that for, I don't know, quite a while, maybe a month, maybe more. And he got to where he would flutter around because I doctored his wing the best I could. I don't remember if I splinted it. Not sure if his bone was broken. I forget that part. If I splinted his wing, but I got his wing healed up pretty good, and he could like flutter around. He didn't like soar around the house or anything, but he would flutter around in that Christmas tree, and he just lived there for a long time. He shit there and everything. I'd have to clean it up off the floor. But yeah, I just fed him this dog food. And then one day I opened up the door to walk out, and he just flew right over my shoulder and off into the woods, and I never saw him again. So even in the worst time of my life, there was something cool there. It was a unique, cool experience that I can look back with in fondness. So, and that was, I would say that was close to the worst time of my life, right after my mom left and near starvation. That was a pretty rough time there in the big scrub. But there was still things I can look back on with fondness, you know. And my second short story is about this time that, now this is in Washington. We were living in we weren't living in Granger, but I went to school in Granger, but we lived outside, out in the country on the Yakima Indian Reservation. And me and my brother had gone up into the hills to go hunting. And still we were broke a lot of the time, and a lot of the time, especially I was older at this time, about 13 I think, and I did a lot of hunting and fishing because that supplemented our diet. You know, it gave us more food. So me and my brother did quite a bit of hunting and fishing at the time. And we were up there and we were hunting for chukar. We didn't get any chukar, but chukar's a bird, kind of halfway sideways between a quail and a pheasant. But anyway, they're up in the hills in central Washington. But we did come across this huge diamondback rattlesnake. Not huge, it was probably about 3 foot long or so. And we come across this big diamondback rattlesnake. And so we ended up killing it. And I wanted to skin it and put its skin on my belt and stuff. I tried to do that. I wasn't successful there. Then I decided to eat the rattlesnake, me and my brother. We're going to eat this thing. And we heard rattlesnake was good. We'll eat it. And it was good, to be honest. It was pretty good. It's really a lot of bones in rattlesnake, not a lot of meat. More bones than meat, but the meat tasted good. But the story is, so I skin this thing and I clean it, and it was a lot like cleaning a fish. It wasn't really gross like you would think of cleaning a deer or something, or slaughtering a hog. It was pretty clean, not a lot of blood, kind of like a fish. And so I clean this thing and get it nice looking and put some salt and pepper on it or whatever, and I just wrap it around in the frying pan. I was just going to fry the whole thing up and then eat it. The head's completely removed, the tail is completely removed, all of the innards. It's just, all it is a strip of bones and meat, basically. You know what I mean? And when I turned the heat on the stove and the grease started getting hot, this snake started flipping around and doing twists and everything and came out of the pan. Now, this thing had been dead for 2 or 3 hours by now. It was crazy. Scared the crap out of me, actually. But finally figured it out. I put it back in the pan and it flipped out again. Probably did that a couple times at least. And finally I took it out and cut it up into small chunks and fried it like that. So that's how I got that done. So if you're ever in a position where you need to try to cook a snake, remember that. But that's what poverty will do for you. It'll put you, it'll make you inventive when it comes to food. You'll eat things that you normally wouldn't. All right. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and comment down below. You can also check out the playlist I have, Crazy Parents. There are more stories like this in that one. Some of them are really funny. Some of them are just kind of interesting like these. But I think all of them are worth a watch. If you'd like to support the channel, you can do so by clicking on that thanks button down below. I appreciate that if you do so. Or you can hop over to Buy Me a Cup of Coffee and buy me a cup of coffee, and I appreciate that as well. I'll leave that link down in the description. There's also some Gen X gear available over at Redbubble if you're interested in that. Got some pretty cool stuff over there, stickers and mugs and t-shirts, cool stuff like that. And I'll put that link down in the description as well. If you don't want to or can't support the channel in any of those ways, you can always do so by sharing these videos on your social media. That helps out a lot, and I appreciate everyone who's done that for me. Thank you very much. And if you have any ideas for future episodes of Gen X Thinks, please drop those down in the comments, or you can email me. The email is on the channel page. Thank you for doing that. That's one of my favorite things to do, is user-inspired videos. And as always, stay frosty, Gen X, and I will see you on the next one.